I cannot stop thinking about Marvel's Spider-Man. From zipping through the sun-drenched streets of New York City, to the epic boss encounters, to the incredible score, this game has burrowed its way into my consciousness like few games ever have. Spider-Man has a long history with video games, but precious few have ever been decent, let alone truly great. The best of the lot is Spider-Man 2, not because the 2004 movie license tie-in was a particular achievement in game design, but because that game best captured the elusive sensation of inhabiting the role of Spider-Man. Until now. There are elements about this new Spider-Man game that I can and probably should complain about, but when measured up against the mountainous list of things this game gets right, all those issues seem like remote molehills, because developer Insomniac's take on this superhero cares about one thing and one thing alone, making the fantasy of Spider-Man tangible.
Maybe it's not as bad as it looks.
The most surprising thing about Marvel's Spider-Man is its gripping, thoughtful, and occasionally somber story. A number of the villains you face off against receive extensive periods of screen time, allowing the narrative to flesh out their characters with believable emotions and motivations. That level of complexity and maturity gives the emotional moments when Spider-Man confronts these characters profoundly human resonance. Every great Spider-Man story is also a great Peter Parker story, and Insomniac demonstrates a deep understanding of this. Peter's scientific mind is emphasized in his day job at a startup lab, his relationship with Mary Jane is complicated, as always, but still manages to feel like a fresh take on the well-worn pairing, and Peter consistently struggles to balance his superheroics with the difficulties of living in the modern world. Monthly rent and misunderstood text messages are just as threatening as criminal organizations and electric-powered supervillains. Yet it is Peter's inherent goodness, his desire to always do what is right even when it is the most difficult and painful thing to do, that anchors this story and truly elevates it to a tier all its own. If there is one word to describe how Marvel's Spider-Man plays, it's fluid. Insomniac has fine-tuned the gameplay to encourage the gaining and maintaining of speed, giving the game a rewarding sense of momentum that bleeds into its every facet. Controlling Spider-Man in just about any situation is a breeze, but nowhere is this momentum better showcased than in the web slinging. Insomniac nailed the sensation of acrobatically tumbling through the air, and it's the kind of mobility that seems daunting at first, but quickly becomes second nature. Combat and stealth are a bit less successful. There isn't anything necessarily wrong with their implementation, in fact they are both highly enjoyable and only get better as players unlock new skills and gadgets, but they aren't top of the class either. However, the cinematic encounters with Spider-Man's nemesis are some of the game's true highlights. While they do boil down to simple pattern recognition and the occasional QuickTime event, their build-up and sense of scale meant that I never felt so distracted that I lost my sense of immersion. They feel exactly like you would imagine them to, as if the battles came straight out of the pages of a Spider-Man comic. Aside from the main story, there is plenty to do in Spider-Man's virtual New York City. While at first glance, the side missions and occasionally tedious extra activities may seem like dated game design, I wouldn't have it any other way. Exploring the environment to find Spidey's long-lost backpacks, taking photographs of landmarks, or thwarting simple crimes really reminds players of the friendly neighborhood aspect of Spider-Man's character. The connection to this character is aided by sound design that makes New York feel alive, and excellent voice acting from the whole cast, from Peter to MJ and Aunt May to JJ Jameson, who features in an always entertaining podcast that you can listen to while swinging through the open world.
This is not your usual toxic mix of underage drinking, entitled millennials, and hormones run rampant.
The music that accompanies your actions always feels appropriate, swelling to underscore a heroic moment or fading away as you perch atop the Empire State Building. The presentation is simply beautiful. It's a total and complete picture of Spider-Man's world, and the best part is, you can touch it. I wasn't sure what to expect when I started Marvel's Spider-Man. I thought it would be a fun game with a passable story, but I never thought it would consume me as much as it did. It isn't a perfect game, and it doesn't really innovate, but it accomplishes everything that the game sets out to do, and does so with flying colors. Up to this point, superhero games haven't really focused on investing the player in the depths of a hero's character, frequently using them as an archetypal jumping off point, rather than a dynamic character who grows and changes. Insomniac uses Spider-Man's inherent relatability to draw players in and make both the world and character feel truly alive. It's an excellent foundation for this fledgling series, and a promising sign of things to come for the industry as a whole. I have a lot more to say about this game. For my in-depth written review, head on over to topshelfgaming.net, where you can find additional content about Marvel's Spider-Man and even more gaming news, reviews, and analysis. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all our latest videos.